Assalamu alaikum fam, hope you're doing well. We continue our reading of Gaius Julius Caesar, this Shakespearean play. I have taken a class on Shakespeare, got an A, read a lot of his works. Macbeth is my favorite. This is one I haven't read, so I figured why not read it here with you on the channel. It's about one of my favorite figures in history, Gaius Julius Caesar. We are in Scene 2, Act 1, okay? Reading Shakespeare is highly beneficial for your English understanding. Sadly, in many schools in America, they say Shakespeare was a white, straight man, therefore we shouldn't learn about him, and that it's racist to teach non-whites about him. And I find this to be highly degrading to people of other races and irrelevant. His skill and style is important. Also, people translating his English into simpler language defeats the purpose. You should be able to have your brain interact with the higher level of English than what is the very dumbed down, nearly retarded language that we use today. That's my personal opinion, but reading him, you get a skill. And even Robert De Niro, that actor, said that the reason why he was such a good actor, that he could deliver the lines so well, was because he used to recite Shakespeare at home. So people can testify the value of Shakespeare's works and how it makes you think, and how becoming comfortable with difficult language gives you a skill, and that you should not dumb down the language or erase him. So that's my pro Shakespeare rant before we get started. And Lil Habaneros here. Okay, so we're in Scene 2, a public place. Flourish, enter Caesar, Antony, for the course, Calpurnia, Portia, Decius, Cicero, Brutus, Cassius, and Casca. A great crowd following among the soothsayer. Okay, so this is going to be Caesar, Casca, and Calpurnia having a little mini dialogue. Calpurnia, peace, ho, Caesar speaks. Calpurnia, here, my lord. Stand you directly in Antonius's way, when he doth run his course. Antonius! Caesar, my lord. Forget not in your speed, Antonius. So touch Calpurnia, for our elders say she barren. Touched in this holy chase, shake off their sterile curse. So here, forget not in your speed, Antonius. So Caesar telling Antonius that when he's called, he kind of better hup too. He better get moving, better come when he's called. Which is interesting how you look at the relationship between Antony and Caesar. Mark Antony, that is, the one who later went to war with Augustus, Octavius, and who fell in love with Cleopatra. Very interesting. Now notice how he says to Calpurnia, holy chase, shake off their sterile curse, and then mentions barren. So sterile curse really gets you thinking about fertility. Because remember in the previous scene, they mentioned some demigod, obviously not real, but they mentioned one of abundance. So fertility, abundance, and sterile curse. See, Shakespeare drops like references that make you think about the previous scene as well, to kind of build upon the themes. Is really good at that. Antony, I shall remember. When Caesar says do this, it is performed. So look how Antony answered Caesar. I shall remember. When Caesar says do this, it is performed. So it's interesting because he is a conqueror too. He's a man who led wars, who pretty head honcho. He's very respected in Rome. So the way he talks to Caesar kind of shows you the dynamicism of their relationship, but also Caesar's ability to command such obedience, right? The soothsayer now comes in. Caesar, hi, who calls? Casca, bid every noise be still, peace yet again. So here, the soothsayer is coming in, calling Caesar's name, and Caesar calls back to him, who is it? And Casca says, bid every noise be still. So put silence, peace yet again, no movement. So they all want to see what this soothsayer is going to say to Caesar. Caesar, who is it in the press that calls on me? Hear a tongue shriller than all the music. Cry, Caesar, speak. Caesar is turned to hear. So notice this. So Caesar is saying, shriller than all the music. So it's not a pleasant call that he has heard. He's really letting you know, like, it's gotten his attention, but not in the good way. Now the soothsayer's going to talk. Soothsayer, beware the Ides of March. What man is that? Brutus. A soothsayer bids you beware the Ides of March. Caesar. Set him before me, let me see his face. Cassius. Fellow, come from the throng, look upon Caesar. Caesar. What sayest thou to me now? Speak once again. Soothsayer. Beware the Ides of March. Caesar. He is a dreamer. Let us leave him pass. So here, everyone remembers pretty much, beware the Ides of March. Won't spoil it for you, okay? But just keep it in mind. So, when Caesar tells him he is a dreamer, let him pass, it's like a little bit of him turning off the eye of like, I'm not going to look into this further. I'm just going to kind of ignore him. You know, I'm not going to take him too serious. Even though he himself admits that, well, hey, that was a shrill voice, you know? Maybe you should pay attention to something like that, right? Senate, exit all except Brutus and Cassius. So now the scene has changed. Now it's just Brutus and Cassius talking, okay? Cassius. Will you go to see the order of the course? Not I. I pray you do. I am not gamesome. I do lack some part of that quick spirit that is in Antony. So, gamesome. That athletic kind of like going forward. Antony was said to kind of had that. He was sort of a lively Roman soldier, you know? And Brutus was more of the diplomatic style, right? So he's like, I don't have that game style of Antony. So, it's interesting. Let me not hinder, Cassius, your desires. I'll leave you. Cassius. Brutus, I do observe you now of late. I have not from your eyes that gentleness and show of love as I was wont to have. You bear too stubborn and I too strange a hand over your friend that loves you. So here you can see Cassius's little bit of manipulative tone, right? Oh, I've noticed lately that you're looking at me differently, right? That you're too stubborn and, you know, you're not too strange a hand, so not embracing. It's like strange, you know, it's like pull back, right? Brutus. Cassius, be not deceived. If I have veiled my look, I turn the trouble of my countenance merely upon myself. See, what I highlight that part is that I have veiled my look. So he's there, but it's not the same, right? Very, very interesting. And he's saying, I trouble my countenance merely upon myself. So he's not seeking countenance from others, rather he's doing self-reflection. Vexed I am of late with passions of some difference, conceptions only proper to myself. So here he's saying he's vexed with deep troubles, so passionate troubles, and they're differentiating themselves. There's difficulty there. And conceptions only proper to himself, so it's like his thoughts that only he should hear, that he might even, you could say, feels only he could understand. He doesn't want to unburden his self and his troubles upon everyone else. Which gives some soil perhaps to my behavior. But let not, therefore, my good friends be grieved, among which number Cassius you be one. So here, he's comforting Cassius, like, no, you're one of my good friends, so I'm not being stubborn, I'm not being strange. In fact, I'm vexed and I'm just self-contemplating, right? With my own troubled mind. It's not you, it's me, right? Nor construe any further my neglect than that poor Brutus, but with himself at war, forgets the shows of love to other men. So don't construe my neglect. Don't misconstrue my intentions, he's saying, like my behavior. Don't add on to it. Don't see it in the way in which it shouldn't be. And how, remember he said, with himself at war. So he's vexed. He's got conceptions that are only proper to him, passionate differences inside of him. So he's been doing a lot of deep reflection. And then he's saying he forgets the show to some love to other men. So he's saying he's not being strange or stubborn. Rather, he is neglecting a duty. You see? So when you say stubborn, that would be like he's actively seeking to be away. Whereas Brutus confirms in his own right that no, he's being more forgetful. So it's more of a passive, not an active way of deflection, right? Cassius. Then, Brutus, I have much mistook your passion, by means whereof this breast of mine hath buried thoughts of great value, worthy conjugations. Tell me, good Brutus, can you see your face? So here, the tone obviously too for Cassius is, oh, I've mistook your passion. So before it was strange hands, stubborn, now it's mistook your passion. So he's reconfirming to Brutus in this kind of sleight of hand tone, like, oh, I agree, it's your passions, your emotions, your self-reflection, right? It's really interesting. Now, when he says, can you see your face? So remember, Brutus was saying conceptions only proper to himself, and then which gives some soil. So, which are giving the base and the juice and the water and the groundwork for those things to grow up, for his passions to grow, for his ideas to grow up, right? So, he's trying to tell him, like, oh, you are merely upon yourself in your troubles, but it's plain on your face. You see? Watch the dynamicism here, right? Brutus. No, Cassius, for the eye see not itself, but by reflection, by some other thing. Now, this is a very witty line. Okay. So, how did Cassius perceive Brutus originally? Well, he says that, I have not from your eyes that gentleness. So stubborn, strange, over a friend that loves you, right? Now, Brutus is talking about reflection by some other thing. We can think of a mirror, looking into a shiny piece of metal, seeing your reflection. Who is the mirror right now? Cassius. Cassius is holding up an image of Brutus that he has, projected upon Brutus, and Brutus is trying to say, no, that's not an accurate reflection that you're seeing. Rather, it's an internal struggle that is not apparent. But then Cassius says, oh, have you seen your face? So your face is your mirror. Yet Cassius is also acting like a mirror. You have to see the wordplay here that he does. Shakespeare. Cassius. 'Tis just, and it is very much lamented, Brutus, that you have no such mirrors as will turn your hidden worthiness into your eye. Aha, so what is he saying here? No such mirror. So what is Cassius trying to do? He saw a reflection, saw behavior. He wants to be that mirror, that person giving the advice. Think about it. Your hidden worthiness, he tells him. Hidden worthiness into your eye. So, as Brutus has mentioned, he's been conflicted and vexed. Here he has Cassius saying, you have hidden worthiness in you that you don't see, but I see it. Because I saw you conflicted, you see? That you might see your shadow, I have heard, were many of the best respect in Rome, except immortal Caesar, speaking of Brutus, and groaning underneath this age yoke, have wished the noble Brutus had his eyes. So notice this, that you might see your shadow. What do you mean by shadow? The dark side of you, the side that's more vague, the side that isn't as bright and glowing as a light. See your shadow. A shadow is an illusion. It's not exactly your real essence. It follows you, but it isn't you. So notice how Cassius is saying, hidden worthiness, shadow. Hidden is dark. Shadow is dark. Just think about the language here. And then he says, except immortal Caesar. What are they doing here? So Brutus has just admitted he's having conflicting thoughts, right? Yet he goes in contrast and says immortal Caesar, kind of saying Caesar is above such emotions. And he says groaning underneath this age's yoke. So saying that Caesar, being the leader of this age at this time, he's put a burdensome yoke restraint upon the people. This kind of hints at his intentions, doesn't it? And notice here how he says, have wished that noble Brutus had his eyes. So really notice this. Because up here he said, your hidden worthiness in your eye, have wished that noble Brutus had his eyes. So is he trying to say to him, Caesar, there is also traits found in Caesar that are found in Brutus? Has Caesar noticed Brutus? Has Brutus noticed Caesar? Cassius sees both Caesar and Brutus. You see? So he is really trying to do something here that we must analyze, right? Because he told him, can you see your face? I must mistook your passion. Right? I have not from your eyes the gentleness. There's a lot of eyes here. Reflection. Right? And then he's trying to tell him, remember Cassius told him, it is very much lamented, Brutus, that you don't have mirrors that will turn your hidden worthiness into your eye. So, hidden worthiness in Brutus, immortal Caesar, Caesar causing people to groan underneath a yoke of the age. Try to see this wedge that he's trying to put in there to someone who is clearly stating that they're mentally distracted, mentally vexed. Kind of in a vulnerable position, right? And Cassius is coming in very smooth. This is something you should think about. So I'll pause it there. So let me know what you think.